wasn't until I started creating the Flexagon class that I remembered how important it's been for me to make Flexagons. Not because it's so much fun for me, but because it's made a huge difference in the lives of so many other people. Um, I had forgotten how great the impact of bringing creativity and fun into the lives of everyone. I mean, I've always known that, but to see it happen so automatically bringing people together has been an amazing experience for me. Where I'm just having fun with people. I'm not really attempting to teach them anything. I'm just playing with them. And as I pulled together the footage that I've taken over the years of the kids that have learned to make flexagons and the older people, then I remembered all the places that I did this where I didn't film, I didn't capture it to share. Oh my goodness, it's near and dear to my heart because the last 12 years of my father's life, he suffered dementia, and and it was art that that gave him his words back. He didn't use adjectives for, well, he started losing his adjectives, and he was a poet, in his odd time. He wrote poetry, and that was one of the great joys of his. Um, and we would go for walks every Thursday, and he'd get tired, so we'd find a bench. That was a big thing. Let's look for a bench, Dad. And he would sit down on the bench at one end and write poetry, and I would sit next to him, the other end, and I would sketch. And then there came a time when he just couldn't find words anymore. So I thought, well, I'll teach him how to do contour drawing, and I did. And he was an engineer, so he always needed straight lines and perfect perspective. And thanks to him, I made a lot of money doing architectural renderings, just being put in a room that had all kinds of angles and listening to a client's dreams and sketching them out. And it was because of my dad, because he insisted that I learn perspective, even though it wasn't anything I even cared about. I didn't care about straight lines. I love wonky. But here, when he lost his words, he also lost his intensity for needing everything to be straight and in line and in perspective. And even after only a minute of doing a contour drawing, he started using adjectives again, and he wrote some of the most spectacular poetry that he ever wrote in his whole life. And it was drawing. It was tapping into a different part of his brain, accessing those words from a different route, because part of his brain had been damaged. And it wasn't just my father. When we would be back at the home where he lived, he no longer lived in the house that my parents built together, because he didn't remember where anything was. The other people, the other residents would also be intrigued by, curious, what were we doing? And I would show them flexagons, and they would laugh. And when one of them learned how to flip it, oh my goodness, they felt like they had this power that was magical. And if somebody else, even somebody they didn't even like, was having trouble flipping it, they would go over and help them. And I saw that with the children. And I've been thinking lately, how can I help in this time of pandemic when a lot of people are feeling lost? I mean, I spend so much time alone that I don't feel lost at all, but I wanted to help people, and I didn't know how. And somehow I thought, well, instead of all these intense color classes I'm teaching, I'll just do something fun, and maybe somebody will want to do that with their kids, since a lot of people have their kids home now during all this. So I started the Flexagons, and that's when it all came back again. The children that often were troubled and didn't make friends very easily were being helped by the cool kids in the class, and then sometimes one of the kids that nobody liked, everybody thought was stupid, was the first to flip the Flexagon, and they became friends. And then the next day when I went in, they'd invited him to sit at their lunch table with them. And that to me is the real magic. So I know that this isn't at all the ordinary introduction to a class, but I just needed to share how important my StreetSmart geometry, which was making flexagons and polyhedra out on city streets and in squares when I traveled to different places in the world, how important that is. And I stopped doing it because so many people were on their cell phones that they thought I was just a homeless person doing something weird in the street, and the kids would want to come and see, and the parents would drag them away, and I was getting so depressed that you know, that they didn't see, and how art and music, theater, these things are being taken out of the schools, out of the public schools, and we need creativity in our life. And that's why I started StreetSmart Geometry, was to show people that math and science and art is all part of the same thing. So I would make these things, and then when children were allowed to approach me, I would give them the polyhedra, or I would leave it hidden in a corner somewhere where someone might find it, like one of those geo caches. Sometimes in the forest, I would make one and leave one in a tree. And for me, I felt a little bit like a leprechaun or something, that I was leaving treasures around, hoping somebody would be intrigued and curious. And so I realize now that I need to go back to doing that. I need to go back to getting my StreetSmart geometry as part of what I pack and bring with me when I travel. So thank you for listening. Maybe this is one of the most important classes I've made. Not sure, but hope you enjoy it. I hope you share it. And there are a lot of very good reasons to learn how to make a flexagon. So have fun. Let me know what you think about all of this and how you share making flexagons. Have a great day. This is Chris Carter.